Hi guys, we'll just wait until we've got a few more coming through on the participant side, and then we'll get started. Right, okay, fantastic. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the UK University Search webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to be focusing on choosing your next steps. So we've got 4 fantastic speakers today speaking to you on about a range of topics that we're going to be covering. We're going to hear initially from Pat from Northern School of Art. Then we're going to be handing over to Jess from the University of East Anglia. Followed by that, we've got Sarah from ESCP Business School. And then finally, Ebony from BL Training. This session is being streamed live on YouTube. So if you've got any questions at all, then feel free to put it into the YouTube chat or directly here on the Zoom chat. Additionally, if you feel like you've missed out anything during the session at all, you can just hop onto YouTube after the session is finished and you'll be able to find all of the content directly there. We will be answering all the questions that you've got during the session, so feel free to put any questions that you've got within the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom, or as I say on the YouTube, put it onto there and we'll get around to answering as many of those as we can. Additionally, after the presentations have been delivered by our 4 speakers, we will be going through some Q&A sections verbally and live at the end of the session. Fantastic. Okay, well, enough from me. I'm going to pass you over to Pat from Northern School of Art, who's going to be speaking to you about types of universities available in the UK. Thanks, Pat.
Okay, thanks, Liam. Hi, so yeah, I'm Pat Chapman. I'm the Vice Principal at the Northern School of Art. And I'm going to talk to you about the various different types of university and higher education providers that you can consider when you're applying. So there are about 350 different institutions across the UK, and they come in many different shapes and sizes, as you can imagine. You need to think carefully and research these different types so that you can make the best decision for you based upon what you want to get from your time at uni. And I can't stress that enough. You need to do that research. So you might think about the type of environment you want to learn in, where the university is actually based. So Metropolitan Universities is one group. These are, as it says on the tin, located in large towns and cities, and they offer a wide range of subjects. I guess here you benefit from the rest of the opportunities offered by a city location. So leisure, culture, sport, even shopping. You're going to be part of a large and diverse community of students, often in the tens of thousands. Then you might think about campus universities. These are located largely outside of major towns or cities. Here, everything is in one place, with the uni offering a range of courses and facilities. So think about places like Lancaster or Royal Holloway, where they are based outside of the conurbation. Everything is on site, as I say, accommodation, teaching, the student union, often sports facilities, all grouped together. These unis are perhaps less connected to their local cities and communities, and sometimes the travel can be a bit iffy, but that just depends on the one that you choose. There is a kind of subset of both of those 2 unis, and that's the small group of collegiate universities that we have in the country. So think Oxbridge, think Durham. They're city-based, but they also offer some of that feel of a campus uni, because you're going to be part of a smaller college-based community, as well as mixing with the students on your course who are at different colleges. It's worth remembering that these institutions also have slightly different admissions procedures that you'll need to look at. So those 2 broad groups of uni encompass other types of institution that you can really look at in the following ways. Firstly, you've got the Russell Group of universities. They're often seen, in my view wrongly, as the best universities. This is a group of 24 research-focused universities that offer a wide range of undergraduate and postgraduate courses. They tend to be city-based, very large institutions with often tens of thousands of students. And they offer a real breadth of experiences for you. Their research focus means that academic staff are often at the leading edge of knowledge creation, and that at postgraduate level, they have exciting and often innovative links with industry. So this is going to mean that you've probably got access to leading thinkers and cutting edge facilities. Then you can think about what I might call the teaching universities. So not the Russell Group and not specifically the specialists either. These also do lots of research, but their focus is perhaps more on undergraduate teaching and learning. And they can be seen loosely as the newer universities, often established since the mid-20th century, sometimes growing from previous polytechnics or colleges. Whilst they do offer a wide range of courses, these ones can often have an historical area of expertise, an area where their reputation really stands out. So you might think about places that have previously had key links with things like pharmacology and Sunderland University. This group often do actually get labelled as the Metropolitan Universities. And often they're going to be found in the same sorts of towns as the Russell Group universities. So you can think about Birmingham, Liverpool, Leeds, Newcastle, Sheffield, and even Oxford. However, sometimes these are really large institutions and they're the only one in their local town or city. So there you might think about somewhere like Huddersfield. So far, I've talked about general universities offering a wide range of courses across a number of faculties, all of them with many, many thousands of students. There is, of course, an alternative to this, and that's the specialist universities, schools, colleges, and conservatoires. We have a bunch of different names that we go under. This is a group of institutions that focus particularly on one sector, does what it says on the tin. So they might focus on sport, the arts, land management, agriculture, or one of the vocational sciences. Specialists can be found in a number of different places. So they might be in small towns, big towns, cities, or indeed on their own campuses. They tend, because of their nature, to have fewer students than the larger general universities, although some of them do have several thousand students. The real difference, I guess, is that all of the students in a specialist institution will have shared interests. So you're going to find people that you can collaborate with and who understand you. Inevitably, this limits the scale and scope of things like the student union, which tend to be smaller because there's fewer students. But by their specialist nature, these institutions will have good links with industry. And because they focus on a particular subject area, they can really invest in specialist equipment and facilities without competition from other subject areas. So perhaps it would help if I gave an example of my own institution, the Northern School of Art. We are one of a small group of specialist art and design institutions nationally. We've got about the same number of undergraduate students as a larger university's arts faculty. Our campus is compact. You won't get lost on it. We've got 5 large buildings only with studios, workshops, theatre, seminar rooms, that kind of thing. We like to say, a special place though. We are a creative, collaborative and welcoming community. And we get to know you as an individual creative professional in training, enabling you to develop as a successful artist and designer, ready to go into whatever creative career you want to after you've left us. We've actually got an outstanding record of employability. So the 4 years between 2014 and 2017 of the Destinations Survey, more than 96% of our graduates actually were in work or further study after they left us. And of course, we only offer creative degrees and master's courses. So these tend to cluster around things like the visual arts, where you might think about fine art, illustration, graphic design, photography or animation, or our stage and screen cluster, which has acting, film and stage production, costume, production design, and and visual effects. Then we've got finally our design cluster looking at textiles, fashion, and digital advertising. All of our degrees as a specialist are developed with industry input, and industry always helps us to deliver them. Our students are also encouraged to collaborate across disciplines, just as you would in the real world. So, for example, all of our stage and film productions involve acting students, costume students, set designers, production students. So basically the same crew you'd work with on a set. We can offer the highest quality of teaching and learning experience, and our staff also have their own creative practice and experience. And we bring in something like 70 different creative professionals from the real world every year to work alongside our staff on teaching. We also have TEF Gold, and we've had that right since the outset of the Teaching Excellence Framework back in 2017. So how do we achieve our outcomes as a specialist institution? Well, we do it through investment in our facilities, whether that's cameras, industry standard software, industry standard brand new studios for photography, for film, or theatre spaces, editing suites, but particularly things like software as well, where you'll get really hands-on experience with the specialist software that you'll need and will use when you move into industry. We also do it through a very personalised approach to supporting you. And that's not just about getting to know your programme tutors who will know you on a one-to-one basis, but through dedicated pastoral support, mental health support, support for those with additional learning needs perhaps, but also because we're creatives, not everyone is as comfortable perhaps with the academic side of things as they think they should be. So we have dedicated academic support to it, which is independent from your programme of study, to help you with things like writing a dissertation. On your course with us, you can also expect small group sizes and very high levels of contact time. So each of our year groups at undergraduate level gets 16 hours of contact time per week. As said already, that we really work strongly with the creative sector. This includes the live projects that you might work on, commissioned by one of our partners, mentoring experiences and work experience as well. So, for example, you might work with us on a set that appears on a BBC TV series. You might get to design a costume for Villanelle in Killing Eve. You might get to design the cover of a national magazine, or exhibit and sell at an exhibition in Paris or Brussels, once we can all do that kind of thing again. We do have a vast range of partners that come in, and as I say, to work with us. So, for example, you might work with Jimmy Turrell, who is an internationally famous graphic designer and videographer who's worked with people like Beck on their music videos. He worked with our students on what you can see as my background here. That was a project commissioned by BBC Radio 1 that our students developed with him. You might work and get feedback from someone like Patrick Grant from the British Sewing Bee, or from Amber Butchart, the TV fashion historian, all of whom are our friends, our partners who work with us on a regular basis. And that's not all. As a specialist institution, what we don't do is give you a careers service. We give you an employability service and an enterprise service, because in my sector, in the creative industries, many people work in smaller businesses, many establish their own businesses, and many work as freelancers. So we provide you with specific additional support around these areas, whether that's marketing, business development, business management, fundraising, business planning. All of these things are offered to you as an addition to your program, and really help you to establish yourself before you get out there in the real world. So, as an art school as well, it means that we're linked into the wider creative world and cultural world of the northeast of England, where we're based. So our academic staff and our students get involved in festivals, in events, in exhibitions, working with galleries, working with film productions that happen in the area. It's an exciting place to be. So we are not a big university, not at all. And we're not in a big city, but we are only 30 minutes on a train from places like Newcastle, where it's cultural buzz and nightlife. So you can access it easily. We do have an active student life on campus in the town because we are a community, because we know each other. And that leads to a range of activities for students on site outside of programs, whether or not that's formal balls, comedy nights, film nights, game nights, role play events, or just nights in the pub and in the student union bar. So just to finish off, how can you make your choice of what type of institution you want to go to? Let me be clear. The choice of where to study is your choice. You've got to do the research, but you've got to know what you want out of a university. So don't let yourself be pressured into making a decision. And above all, make the choice that's right for you. What kind of place feels right for what you are as a person and what you want to get out of university life? At the Northern, we know that we're not going to be right for everybody, and that is absolutely fine. If you're looking for a big city campus, big city experience, you're not going to be happy if you come to us, even if our courses are what you want to do. And if you're not happy, you're not going to thrive, and that's not good for you, and it's not good for us. So do your research, attend the online virtual open days, and hopefully, if you can, get to real open days when they start again. Use the opportunity of tech to talk to students. Use Unibuddy or other types of tool that's available on the websites of most institutions. Talk to the staff, talk to the students. Try and get a feel for what's going on out there. And once you've got a short list of institutions, check out their social media as well. Find out what they're doing and use it as a way of testing whether or not what they say is actually what they do. So thanks for listening. I'm going to hand back to Liam and to other colleagues now, and I hope you get some great questions coming through, which we can answer later. Cheers.
Thanks a lot, Pat. I'm going to pass over now to Jess from the University of East Anglia, who's going to be speaking about choosing a university course. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you so much, Matt. And so as it's just been mentioned, my name is Jess. I'm one of the higher education advisors here at the University of East Anglia. I'm just going to share my screen with you now, just so that you can see the presentation. And I'm going to be talking to you about making the right choice for your course. Okay, so obviously we have heard from Pat about the different types of universities that are out there, and it may be that you do need to go to a specialist university. It may be that you're thinking about the Russell Group universities, but for those of you who haven't heard of UEA just yet, we are based in the east of England, so we're based in Norwich. And so if you think about where Birmingham is, just keep going across, and before you get to the sea, you'll generally get to Norwich. We are particularly proud of some of the things that Pat did mention earlier. So things like we also have TEF Gold in our ranking. So our teaching has been ranked as gold. We're a top 25 UK university. We're world top 200, and we are also top 50 in the world for research citations. So basically, if you want to go to a research intensive university that also offers excellent teaching, we can offer you a great experience if you are looking for a campus-based experience. So as you have heard earlier, there is a bit of a difference between the different types of universities. We are a very, very good example of what a campus-based university is. Pretty much everything that you see in the centre of this screen here is the University of East Anglia. And we do call ourselves UEA for short, because it's a little bit less of a mouthful. And as you can see here, all your lecture theatres, seminar rooms, academic offices, a 2,000 person gig venue, your library, bars, restaurants, cafes, shop, a student union shop, doctors, dentists, and one of the largest indoor sports parks outside the Olympic Park in the UK is also on our campus. We're about 16,000 students with about 4,300 students living on campus. So we do offer a campus-based experience, and the city of Norwich is about a 30-minute walk into the city centre. Depends on how fast you walk. It takes me about 40 minutes. I'm a bit of a slow walker. You can cycle in about 15 minutes, or buses run every 10 minutes from campus into the city centre, and they take about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on where it is that you want to go. So we do have very strong links to the city of Norwich, which is where we're based. However, that's enough about UEA for now. Let's talk about how you can think about choosing your course and finding the right subject. And as Pat did mention earlier, when it comes to choosing a university, it is down to you and your own preferences. And the same goes for your subject, okay? So in any given year, there are normally about over 40,000 degree programs to choose from in the UK alone. Never mind if you are thinking about going to a university in the UK, in the EU, or around the world. There are 40,000 degree programs for you to choose from. And they can range from the courses that you've heard from, your economics, business, art history, biology, medicine, physiotherapy, psychology, to the courses that maybe you haven't heard of. You can do a degree in golf management if you want. You can do a degree in equine studies. You can do a degree in meteorology and oceanography, if that's what your interest is. If you don't just want to do the broad environmental sciences, we offer engineering at UEA, but one of our specialisms is energy engineering. So if you're not thinking about your traditional kind of chemical engineering, structural engineering, those types of degrees, if you're thinking more about the environmental sciences and linking that with engineering, that's one of the things that you can do. So think about what course it is that you want to be starting to study. Because out of those 40,000 degree programs, you have to narrow that down to 5. Okay, that's how many generally you will apply to university for through UCAS. Except if you are thinking about medicine, dentistry, or veterinary sciences, you only get to pick 4 in those subjects, and your 5th choice must be used for something else. Vast majority of students will choose to do one course at 5 different universities, but some students may choose to do 2 courses at the same university, so kind of different courses at the same institution. They really like that institution, and then 1 course at 3 different universities. It really is up to you. But when you are starting to think about which subject, which course it is that you want to apply to, start to think about what type of opportunities do you want and how broad do you want that course to be. When I went to university, the only thing I could think that I could spend at least 35 hours a week in contact time and independent studying was history. It was my favorite A-level. I'd absolutely loved it prior to A-level. And so I studied a single degree in history. For 3 years, I studied history. However, one of my flatmates at university, she wanted something that was a little bit more broad, and as such, she chose a combined subject degree. She chose a joint honours degree in history and politics, but you could also do them in things like English literature and philosophy, or you can do natural sciences. Natural sciences at UEA allows you to combine 2 or 3 subjects from biology, chemistry, physics, maths, computing, environmental sciences. So you get to really mix and match your degree. And we also do liberal arts, which allows you to combine a range of subjects and a range of modules from history, English, languages, philosophy, and a huge list of arts and humanities. And you can also take some science modules as well to really tailor your degree and really mix and match your degree. So you can do combined subjects if you want to, and that's all a part of one degree. Some people will know what they want to do, but they might want to do their degree with just a little bit extra. So they may choose to do a year abroad or a year in industry as part of their degree program, extending their 3-year degree to 4 years, and they will spend their 3rd year maybe studying at a university in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or to do a work-based placement. Some may think that actually when I go to university, I want to study part-time and I would like to maybe work alongside it, or maybe I have caring commitments that I would like to do alongside that. And as such, it may be that you want to do part-time study, or it may be that in your current sixth form courses that you are doing, you haven't quite chosen the right subjects it is that you want to do, and you decide that you want to do computing sciences, but actually you haven't studied anything to do with computing or maths or sciences, and you chose the arts and humanities in sixth form. So as such, it may be that you want to do a foundation year, which gives you that broad year before you go into what is the traditional first year of a degree. So it makes your degree 4 years, and the first year is a foundation year. Completely up to you, depends on what it is that you want to do, how broad or how in-depth do you want your course to be in relation to your subject. And when you are thinking about choosing a subject, think about what you enjoy. If you do not enjoy your time at university, it is going to be hard to really thrive at university, because you have to really enjoy your time there. I was so interested in so many different areas of history that it actually made learning fun when I was there, and I was able to put in the passion, the commitment. I was able to get into my 9 o'clock lectures, spend those hours in the library that I needed. So what do you enjoy? Think about, it might be something you're doing now in your studies, or maybe something that you do extracurricular, but you also need to be good at it as well. I'm not saying that university won't be a challenge, but it should be a challenge that you are able to meet. And it might be that you need to think about where you want to be in the future, because you might want to do a degree now, you might want to be a physiotherapist, so you have to study physiotherapy as your degree. You might want to be a teacher, and as such, undertaking a teaching degree would be the quickest route into that. Think about where it is that you want to be. These are just a couple of ideas, because this is UEA's faculties in our schools of study. Okay, we offer them across 4 different faculties. So for example, if you wanted to do the creative arts, we're probably not the university for you. If you want to do dentistry, we're not the university for you, because we don't offer that program. However, if you wanted to do any of these different types of subject areas, that might be something that we can help with. We are particularly well known for things like English literature and creative writing, environmental sciences, business management. We do very, very well in terms of rankings for our physiotherapy programs. But having a look to see which other courses universities do and specialize in and do really well in also allows you to see how flexible that course is, because although I did a history degree, if I wanted to, I could take optional classes in politics, in international relations, in languages if I want to. But if I was doing a medicine degree, I might not be able to just skip the heart and lungs module and pick a geography module instead. So think about how flexible the courses can be when at your chosen universities, and different universities will specialize in different areas. And just for an example, there might be some courses where there are only 6 or 7 universities in the UK that offer that course. However, if you choose something like psychology, there are over, the last time I checked, 1,700 courses at universities in relation to psychology. So narrowing that down to 5 might be a little bit more tricky. Fantastic that you've got so many different options. You could do psychology, social psychology, cognitive psychology, developmental psychology, computational psychology, psychology with criminology, for example. And that allows you to really explore the flexibility of where your interest is. But it does mean you have a little bit more research to do, because there are a lot of courses. However, if you want to do something like oceanography and meteorology, like I said, there might only be a handful of universities that actually do that course, and the other ones might have to do more environmental sciences based. And you do have to delve deeper into the title. If over 1,700 university courses are linked to psychology, delve deeper to see what the actual modules, the classes that you will be studying at university, what they actually are. Okay, when I was choosing my history degree, the one thing I absolutely could not stand was medieval history. It was not for me. So I chose a university that had more modern history modules, because that was what I would enjoy most at my time at university. But you need to pick, to delve deeper once you have an idea of which universities and which courses you'd like to apply for, to see what the actual modules are. And you would also need to see how those classes are taught. Okay, so it may be, for example, you want to do medicine. Medicine at UEA, we normally start you in your clinical placements within the first 4 weeks of the course. So you'll finish sixth form, you'll have your summer, you'll start university in September, and within 4 weeks of the course, you're meeting patients and you're engaging with patients. However, there are programs in the UK where for the first 3 years, You don't do any engagement with patients. You actually do a lot of the background, the anatomy, the science behind medicine, and then you put it into practice in the final 2 years. It depends on what type of person it is that you are. Do you prefer to put it into practice as you go along, or do you prefer to have all of the information first of all and then put it into practice? Those are the things that you need to decide what works best for you. As a history student, I might only have 6 to 8 hours of classes each week, so actually with a lecturer. However, the other 20, 25 hours per week were independent study. And I was fine with that. I'm quite self-motivated. And I would have maybe a few lectures, which are large classes with a lecturer speaking at the front. And then that would be followed up with a seminar. And that's what would make up my 8 hours, for example. However, if you're not really a theoretical person and you need the more practical side of things, then see how the course is going to be taught. What level of practicality is there in your course? If you're going to be doing a health-related program like midwifery or nursing, what are your placements going to be like? How often are they? Where are those placements? And just think about how much independent study is needed. You do have to do independent study when you go to university. You can't escape it. However, if you are interested in the course, if you are passionate about the course, if that course is going to get you to be where you want to be in the future, hopefully the ways that you learn, the course that you choose, the university that you choose, and the independent study that you do will all be something that you welcome because you are really passionate about your area of study. There are lots of different places that you can do your research to find out a little bit more. My advice would be, if you're delving deeper into the actual course specifics and what modules you may do, have a look on university websites, individual university websites. Every university has its own website. However, if you're still at the initial stages of trying to decide which course it is that you want to do, have a look at things like the What Uni, UK Uni Search, the Student Room, league tables. League tables are not the be-all and end-all of which university that you should go to. Have a look at subject-specific league tables, which ones do really well for your particular subject. However, you have to look at the wider context about where you'll be happy, what modules are on offer, what support is available, how they teach the course, and will this course get you to be where you want to be in the future? And like I said, just to round up, these are the things that you need to think about. What do you enjoy? What modules are there on offer? Where do I want to be with my career? Are they year abroad or year in industry facilities? Extracurricular, what sports clubs, societies, what's life going to be like at that university alongside the course? And doing some research. Obviously going to virtual open days, virtual experiences can be a really good way, as you can't get out just yet, to get a bit of a feel for that university and for those courses. And a lot of universities like UEA do have the opportunity where you can attend webinars, particularly subject-specific webinars, or you can speak to our current students about what life is like on that particular course. Now, I do hope that you found this bit useful. If you do have any more questions about how you can choose a course or any questions that you may have, I'm more than happy to answer those, but I'm now going to hand over to Sarah for the next part of the presentation.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see my presentation. Okay, so my name is Sarah and I am the recruitment executive for the Bachelor in Management program at ESCP Business School on the London campus. And today I'm going to tell you a bit more about the location as well as your future higher education institution, which might be, it's a big part of the decision that you will be making. So what are your options? So you might want to consider if it's important for you to stay in your country, whether it is in the UK or abroad, or if you want to have an international experience and study in another country, so choose a university abroad. Then the campus location inside of the country. So you might enjoyed your time in being in a city that might be important for you. So make sure that the campus is a urban campus, so located inside a city. You might like cities, but prefer, to have this kind of university atmosphere and decide to have kind of a in-between option, which can be a suburban university with a campus outside of a city, but still with good access to the closest town or city. So you can go there in your free time, but still have this, community of your own uni outside of the big metropolis. And then you have campus-based university, as Jessica was just telling you about, which are more in the countryside and which might be a bit more away, but that they used to have a really great community life there and a lot of facilities, so you don't miss anything. You're just a bit further from a big city, but that might be good for you, because if you like green spaces, you like having activities outside, and I don't know, enjoy cycling, for example, in your free time, that might be ideal for you. So that can be something to consider as well. And then inside of the university, you might want to know what is the international student rate, because this can have an importance in developing your soft skills. So today I'm going to focus a bit more about studying abroad. And I wanted to tell you a bit about ESCP as an institution. We are kind of particular because we are one university, but we have different campuses across Europe. So one of them is in London, but we also have campuses in Paris, Madrid, Turin, Berlin, and Warsaw. So we are a cross-border multi-campus institution. And also we have a high rate of international students. For the Bachelor in Management program only, we counted 55 countries represented. So you might like the idea of studying together with people coming from everywhere in the world. So pay attention to that international student rate. That can be, something to look for when you are researching about your higher education options. And some of the advantages of studying in a multicultural environment are that you are going to, on top of doing your career, your program, and getting a degree in a certain area, you can also develop great soft skills that employers look for nowadays. So one of them is that you can become a great communicator, because being together in class with people from everywhere in the world means that you have to interact daily with people who have completely different backgrounds and often have different point of view. But that's all right, because that will help you to develop your presentation skills or your communication skills, because you will have to debate and discuss complex questions in class with your peers coming from different cities or countries, and you will learn to make your point efficiently and also become really diplomatic. So being able to know, okay, maybe they don't understand things like I do, so I have to really make my point across so that everyone understands what I want to say. And that's especially important if you want to, let's say, work in management and have to present a project to a team that is international. So make sure that everyone understands where you go with that presentation. That's really important. You will also become more open-minded. So we all have stereotypes and biases, and that's completely normal. But being in contact with people from other countries and cultures would make you understand that culture, in a deeper way. Maybe see that some of your stereotypes are not what you thought, as accurate as they were, and also appreciate other cultures more. And this is especially important for you for your relationships inside and outside of your professional life. So for your own personal life, that's also really important. And then you will be building empathy, because interacting with people from different backgrounds will help you build trust and respect with them by sharing about your culture, about listening about their culture. And so, these are all qualities that you can then put on your CV. And this is what makes your CV and your profile stand out for employers if you want to work, especially if you want to work in international environments. So I've listed here a few soft skills that you will gain from studying in an international environment. So diplomacy, cross-cultural communication, teamwork, and international teamwork more specifically, problem solving. As I was saying, sometimes you will be in class with students coming from a different region, a different part of the world, and you might not have the same point of view. So you have, maybe there's some clashes there that you have to solve. You will have the capacity to understand different audiences, which is important, for example, if you want to work in marketing. So understanding your audience will make you able to target your campaigns more efficiently. So that can be another soft skill that you take out of studying abroad or in an international environment. You will be more adaptable. You will be more globalized citizen, so understand how other cultures work, and then also have intercultural management skills. If you want to work in management, that can be a big plus. So at ESCP, what we offer is a really unique opportunity to go to different places in Europe. So we have campuses in, as I was telling you, big cities in Europe. So in the first year, students can go to London or Paris. We also have a partner uni in Beijing, so that's another option. The second year, students can decide to go to Madrid, Paris, or Turin. And in the third year, they can go to Berlin or Paris. Another option is, as my colleagues were telling you about a few minutes ago, is to take a course. You might want to have this kind of in-between experience. So you might want to go stay in the UK and also have a year abroad, so an exchange year in a university in another country. So that can give you this, stability to stay in your own country, maybe meet international students inside of your campus, but then experience life outside of your country yourself by being immersed in another culture, in another country with an exchange year. And so some main features about the bachelor program, as I was telling you, we are a business school. So this is a bachelor in management, business management program. It's a general program where you can study 3 years in 3 different countries. So that's why it's called multicultural study track. We also have an interdisciplinary approach. So it combines management with quantitative courses, liberal arts, and languages. So this curriculum is quite set, but it is really complete, and it's quite good for students who might not know what they want to do later, but know they want to study something related to business. So this gives you the opportunity to have all the fundamentals of business, but then go into maybe a specific specialization with a master. So you can do that at ESCP, or you can decide to go to another university to get a master's degree. So that's another option, or go back home and do a master's back home, right? And the program can be done in English, or you can take some classes in another language as well. So what are your options after you graduate with the bachelor program? You can, as I was saying, start working straight away. So it's really professionalizing. And yeah, if you're interested in international careers, I would suggest to check what the career services of that university is doing, what they how they help you with, getting jobs later on, or internships that might connect you already to the corporate world. Or as well, students can decide to get an extra year, so do 4 years with a master's degree, and they can do that at ESCP with a specialized master that we offer, or they can go to one of our partner universities across the globe. So we have more than 140 partner universities that we work with, and some of our students decided then to go and work in in a completely different region of the world. So that kind of adds up to this international experience. To give you an idea, I wanted to share a bit of some of the companies where our graduate students are now working. They can do this in the country where they have studied, or go back home and work in one of these big international companies back home as well. So I'm sure that you can recognize some big names here, such as Amazon or Visa or Bloomberg. There's also the WHO and so on. And as I was telling you, masters, so this program is recognized internationally. So this gives you the opportunity to then go and study in another university in a completely different region. So adding up to this international experience. So check when you are looking for in undergraduate programs, what are my options when I finish this program? Is this program recognized in other countries? Am I able to do my master's in another region? Because you might want to specialize in an area. You might not be ready to start working yet and want to have, a master's on top of your undergraduate program. And so checking if this program is recognized in other countries might give you access to masters afterwards, and then the experience to study in a completely different region, well, if it's back home or if it's in another place in the world. And so I was telling you about urban versus suburban or campus-based universities. As we have campuses in big cities, I just wanted to share you some advantages and some reasons that you won't regret well, studying in big cities like London and Paris, which are our first year campuses for the Bachelor Program. So for London, it's a great global network working center. So it's really important if you want to study working business to build your relationships. So London is a really great way of doing that, and taking up an internship in London can open a lot of doors. You have also a lot of cultural attractions that can complement your student life. So that's what I was telling you. Where are you most happy? What do you enjoy doing in your free time? Do you like going to museums? Do you like going to explore new restaurants or any particular sports activity that you like? If that's the case for you, then maybe campus located in a city might be a great option. Starting program in London can also have great career advantages because a lot of big industries are placed in those cities. So you can get an internship or build your relationships with those companies from your undergraduate program already. So in London, you have really big financial, it's a really big financial capital, and you have industries giants like Google, HSBC, Virgin Atlantic, and so on that are located there. So it's great to be close to them in case you want to have an internship in that city. And also students have really world-class social life in London. So it's where you can find some of the best restaurants, bars, nightclubs, and so on. So think of, as I was saying before, what do you like to do in your free time? And is this something I would enjoy if I'm living outside of a city? The access to the city, will I miss that? Is that important to me? So yeah, make sure that you think about those things when you look for your undergraduate programs. And then the other city that we offer for the bachelor program is Paris. So some of the advantages to live in Paris is that it's a great cultural capital. So if you like this international environment and atmosphere, Paris is really the center of French language and culture. So you can go to great museums as well and learn a lot of the French culture, but it's also a big melting pot of different cultures. So you have an Asian neighborhood, an African neighborhood, and so on, where you can find shops, restaurants, and so on. So you might like that, and you might want to experience that atmosphere. Also, it's one of, Paris has a rich history as a commercial center for luxury and goods and fashion. So if that's something that you want to work in later on, why not decide to directly study in the city to have this, build your network and kind of start looking for places where you might be able to work in that industry. And then also, if you're interested in business more specifically, well, Paris has a really great history of business schools. In fact, ESCP was founded in Paris 200 years ago, and it's known to be the world's first business school, but you have a lot of other really great business schools, or écoles de commerce, as they call them there, that can be a great way of, starting your career in business. And also make sure that you know the alumni network that these schools have, because there will be a great way into your professional careers. And also, it offers a great range of experiences, so stuff you can do in your free time. Again, in Paris, you have great fine dining restaurants, some of the best, Michelin-starred restaurants, and also great cultural experiences. So these are the things that I would suggest to look for when you're also considering your time abroad, because as Jessica was saying before, it's important that you are happy to thrive in your university and in your degree. So if you're in an environment that you don't that doesn't connect with you, or that you don't feel gives you what you need in terms of, cultural experiences, what you like to do in your free time, and so on, then it might be hard for you. So make sure that you think, what's best for me? Where do I like to live the best? And that can be also another factor to take into consideration when you are looking for your university. So here are my contact details in case you want to have any other questions, but we're also checking the Q&A session. I hope you enjoyed.
Fantastic, thanks, Sarah. If you wouldn't mind shutting down your share screen.
Yeah.
Perfect, fantastic. Okay, fantastic. Well, thanks again, Sarah. I'm going to pass you now through to Ebony from BL Training, and she can speak about apprenticeships.
Hi everyone, I'm just going to share my screen. I won't be a second. Sorry, I won't be a minute. I'm just moving this. My apologies. I'm just trying to get the slideshow up and move this. Here we go. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Can anyone kind of confirm that you can see the presentation?
Yes, Ebony, yeah, it's coming up absolutely
Fantastic.
fine.
Awesome. So we've heard from some really, really great speakers about the university experience, but I just wanted to kind of touch on apprenticeships and introduce them to you. My name is Ebony, as I was introduced. So basically I'm just going to kind of introduce apprenticeships to you, hopefully debunk some myths that commonly surround apprenticeships, talk about the various different levels, and really show you that there are fantastic opportunities for you to gain amazing degrees and qualifications via apprenticeships. Most of you probably already know what an apprenticeship is. Sorry, just 2 seconds. I'm just going to move this control bar over there. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, so I'm sure most of you already know what an apprenticeship is, but in case you don't, an apprenticeship is a system of work experience in combination with studying towards a related qualification or degree. So the idea behind an apprenticeship is that you would be studying towards a qualification or degree that is related to your job role. A lot of apprenticeships will either allow you to basically be part of the new generation of practitioners within a company or organization, or a lot of apprenticeships will also at the end give you basically the opportunity to become licensed to carry out regulated roles. So for example, to become a quantity surveyor in the UK, that is a regulated role. So there are apprenticeship opportunities that will allow you to become licensed to carry that role out within a company. I hope that makes sense. I know that was quite a mouthful. I'm just going to go on to quickly again, just to address some of the common myths that surround apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are paid roles. So if you are doing an apprenticeship, that is an opportunity for you to earn while you are studying. An apprenticeship is a real job. So very commonly, particularly from the older generation, there's an idea that apprenticeships are kind of, low skilled, low labor opportunities. This isn't the case at all. There are opportunities for you to gain even up to masters through an apprenticeship. And like I said, this is all paid for. Apprenticeships are for everyone. So I very commonly get asked if apprenticeships are things that people can do when they have various abilities. And the answer is yes, there are apprenticeship opportunities for everyone. In the UK specifically, by law, when practical, a job or workplace, they have to kind of provide any kind of additional support for people with varying abilities, as long as it's practical and as long as when those special measures are put in place, the individual is able to carry out that role. So apprenticeships really are for everyone. There are a number of different opportunities for a number of different skill sets and a number of different abilities. And finally, like I said, there are no fees to pay. So if you did a degree apprenticeship, for example, when you go to university, typically a lot of people will take out a student loan in order to cover the cost of their tuition. As an apprentice, you don't have to worry about that because the cost of your tuition are completely absorbed by your company or organization that you are doing your apprenticeship with. I'm just also going to talk about the benefits quickly that apprenticeships can bring to you. An apprenticeship can absolutely lead to job progression. So with an apprenticeship, naturally, with a lot of companies, particularly when it comes to the degree opportunities, companies will assign an apprentice, for example, a mentor in that company. So somebody in a more senior position in that company or organization. And it would be that mentor's job to make sure that as an apprentice that you're comfortable, to make sure that you're happy to do your role, to make sure that you understand what you're doing and that you're coping with the pressures of professional life. A lot of apprenticeship providers will also give an apprentice the opportunity to experience and explore different parts of the company. And that allows the apprentice to kind of basically figure out where they feel their skill set is best kind of served. And naturally, when we feel like we're supported in our roles, we're more likely to kind of stay on, we're more likely to progress within that role or company because you have a good understanding of what it is that's expected of you and of the company in itself. An apprenticeship can absolutely support a great social life. You're earning money as you are studying. I know that when I went to university, one issue that I constantly had was that, there was the opportunities to have a social life, but not so much the money. With an apprenticeship, like I said earlier, you're earning money. And because you're earning money, you can use that to kind of support your social life. As an apprentice, particularly with degree apprenticeships as well, you get the opportunity to go to university. You probably will get the opportunity to meet other apprentices as well. So that's your chance to kind of network. And as we have heard in the previous talks, networking is a key thing when it comes to your post-18 options. An apprenticeship can allow you to relocate. So just like you would approach university, you can take that approach with apprenticeships. There are a lot of fantastic opportunities in a range of different companies all over the country. So don't kind of limit yourself. A lot of companies, for example, Dyson have an entire accommodation specifically for their apprentices. There's other companies as well that will provide things like company cars. There are companies that would help with relocation costs, as they know that as an apprentice, you're very likely to be a young person and they will do all they can to support you. So do keep an open mind when it comes to looking for opportunities. And finally, an apprenticeship is not an easy option, which is something that, again, with the older generation, quite a lot of people kind have an idea of apprenticeships being this thing that you do when all else fails or you don't get into your university choices. Apprenticeships are great, but they are very competitive. So it's good to kind of bear that in mind. What kind of apprenticeships are there? The answer is so many. There are a number of different industries that have apprenticeship opportunities, and this changes every single year. Once upon a time, you couldn't do an apprenticeship to become a solicitor. You can do that now. Once upon a time, you couldn't do an apprenticeship to become a project manager. You can absolutely do that now. And this changes every single year. This year, not for the best, not for the better, because naturally the pandemic has meant that a lot of industries have kind of pulled back on recruitment, but definitely there are some great opportunities in a range of different fields. So like I said earlier, keep an open mind. Here are some examples of employers that have offered or are offering apprenticeships right now. I'm sure that most of you can recognize the names that are on this slide. So these are companies that have offered and do currently have apprenticeship opportunities. So like I said, there's opportunities to work for really, really good employers. Now, whilst the big household names are great, it is good to kind of bear in mind that just because a company isn't a name that you're familiar with has no bearing on the quality of the apprenticeship that is being offered. So do bear that in mind. There are a number of companies that naturally will come across every single day that we might not have necessarily heard of. That doesn't mean it's not a good company. It doesn't work like ketchup, where, you know, Heinz is king and then, you know, the Tesco brands and the Asdas aren't so great. So just kind of, like I said, keep an open mind and look at the opportunity that the apprenticeship offers and the qualification that comes with it to determine whether an apprenticeship is a good opportunity or not. And another tip that I like to give people if they are trying to get an apprenticeship is to look inside the company. At this stage in the game, it's all about kind of keeping an open mind and making sure that you are making equipping yourself with as much knowledge as possible to kind of inform your decisions in regards to apprenticeships. So make sure that when you are looking for apprenticeships, you don't just limit yourself to general job websites or general apprenticeship websites. Have a look at, for example, Coca-Cola. Let's say you wanted to do something in marketing. Coca-Cola will have an entire department dedicated to their marketing. Let's say you wanted to do marketing. Foot Locker will have an entire department dedicated to their marketing. I hope you understand where I'm going with this. Basically, make sure that you're looking in companies. Have a look at website portals and use those as starting points, as well as looking at your general job sites for apprenticeship opportunities. Here are the different levels of apprenticeships. I'm not going to talk too much about the level 2 and 3s, but just so that you know, level 2 apprenticeships are GCSE or GCSE equivalent apprenticeships. Level 3 apprenticeships are A-level or A-level equivalent apprenticeships. From post 18, you are able to then access the level 4s and above. Level 4 apprenticeships are higher national certificates. Level 5 apprenticeships are higher national diplomas or foundation degrees. Level 6 apprenticeships are degree apprenticeships. And finally, level 7 apprenticeships are masters or chartered status apprenticeships. So just like I said before, there are really good opportunities to get really good degrees and really good qualifications behind you in a number of prestigious universities. Now, generally speaking, the way an apprenticeship would be delivered by Google, for example, would be different to how, I don't know, Virgin Media deliver their apprenticeships. And that's because they're two completely different companies with two completely different purposes. But for the most part in the UK, when you are doing an apprenticeship, about 80% of your time doing your apprenticeship, you will spend doing your workplace learning. So that's you carrying out your duties as an employee of that company. That's you doing your day-to-day tasks and, you know, taking on your responsibilities, working in the field, working on site, and really getting to grips with the practical element of your apprenticeship. Then about 20% of your time doing an apprenticeship, you'll probably spend that studying towards the qualification that comes with your apprenticeship. So that could be anything from online learning, similar to what we're doing right now, or attending some sort of university, attending some sort of college or training provider to do the studying aspect of your apprenticeship. Here are some fantastic opportunities that I found all over the UK, just to again reiterate the fact that there are great opportunities in apprenticeships. So Bank of America currently have a live vacancy for an apprenticeship, for an apprentice rather. Cell Therapy Catapult Services Limited. I know that was something to do with science. It's quite scientific. There is a civil engineering opportunity for London Transport, and there is an opportunity in Morgan Stanley. All of these have starting dates of September. So do bear in mind that if you are interested in doing an apprenticeship by September, a lot of companies are putting on their opportunities right now, and a lot of the closing dates are between now and Easter. So do research and do have a look at the things that are out there. Again, I hope you can see as well, the salaries that are being offered, I mean, two are competitive, which could really mean anything, but these look like pretty good employers, so I don't imagine they're going to be offering minimum wage. But this isn't too bad to be earning right out of at the age of 18, 19. And these kind of opportunities as well are offer salaries that a lot of graduates will probably only see maybe a year or so after completing university. So I hope you can see that there's great opportunities to earn pretty good money with an apprenticeship. So if you are interested in doing an apprenticeship, here are some places that you can start looking. amazingapprenticeships.com/vacancies, gov.uk/find an apprenticeship. Like I said earlier, make sure that you have a look at company websites, have a look at their job portals. And finally, if you're not entirely sure about what it is that you want to do, it's completely normal and okay. This is a time for you to kind of keep an open mind and get as much support as you can. The National Career Service is there to support you if you did need help in that regard, with basically kind of finding yourself and figuring out what works for you in a professional sense. Here are our contact details if you wanted to get in touch. I can see that there's like 5 questions, so I'm just going to go and have a look at what they are. But yeah, that is pretty much it from me. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you've been able to take away from this session. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and open them. Okay, so the first, or did you want to read them out?
Yeah, Ebony, I think what we'll do is we'll just start moving through some of the questions generally, but if you're happy to go in and answer those on the Q&A, that'd be superb.
Oh, completely fine, that's no problem at all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ebony. Would you mind stopping the share screen?
Of course, no problem.
Fantastic. Well, lovely. Well, thanks, Ebony. That was a fantastic presentation. And thank you to all 4 speakers who have given us some brilliant information on their topics. As mentioned at the beginning of the session, we are now moving over to the Q&A. So thank you very much for those who have submitted a question either on Zoom or on YouTube, or in fact sent us some questions before the presentations even started. So we're going to go around. I've got about 3 questions for each of our presenters, which I'm going to go through. So I'm going to do it in the order of the presentations. So the first question is for Pat. Pat, does the type of university I pick have an effect on my job prospects after I finish my degree?
Okay, thanks. That's a really good question. And the simple answer is that I'm not sure why I'm not getting video coming through. I should have.
Yeah, we can see you now, Pat. That's fine.
That's great. So the simple answer is that there are 3 things that have more impact on your job prospects than simply where you went to study. And those are: what classification of degree do you get? What experience have you got to take away from university and take into your working life? So, for example, have you had the opportunity to do work experience or placements and put that on your CV whilst you're studying? And also the third point is, what's your readiness for the world of work? And that means developing how you've developed the soft skills of team working and communication, how you understand the professional requirements of what the job you're interested in doing affect you. So, for example, from my side of things, that might be working as part of a film crew. How do you actually understand the health and safety aspects? How do you understand the operation of the different parts of a film crew? Now, if your institution provides you with a good degree and you take all the opportunities and study hard, if it provides you with the opportunities to get good work experience, and if it gives you experience on the right equipment, the right software, then yeah, the place that you go to is going to have an impact. The different type of institution, less so. Unless, of course, it's one of the key professions. So, for example, medicine or maybe even accountancy, things like that. But by and large, no. The type of university that I've talked about doesn't have a great impact. The only one I'd say really different to that is if you want to go into research in a particular field and therefore stay in academia, then yeah, maybe the Russell Group unis and other institutions like UEA who do have an intense research focus, maybe they're the places to go, and yeah, that has an impact. I hope that answers the question.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Pat. Next question is for Jess. The question is, if I choose a university course and I'm not enjoying it, what options do I have?
That's such a good question. So the one thing I would say is this really comes down initially to research and making sure that you are doing the research, that you are finding a course that is right for you, that you choose a university that teaches you, that offers you the experience that you want outside of the classroom, inside the classroom as well, and that you find that right match for you. And that's about doing the research, going on and looking at university websites, looking at attending webinars like this, doing MOOCs. There's a lot of universities that offer the ability to speak directly to the students or to the academics within their departments. Having those open and honest conversations about what university life is going to be like and what life on that course is going to be like, and also what support is available to you, both academically and overall while you are at university, to make sure that you are happy and thriving at university. That's the best thing that you can do initially when you are doing your research and applying to university, doing everything that you can possibly do to make sure that the decisions are right for you. If for some reason you do get to university and actually you're not enjoying it, it's not what you thought it was going to be, or you are struggling, it is about having those open and honest discussions with your academic advisor, with the student support services that are available, and having those conversations just to see if there is anything that can be done to help you really thrive on that course. If it is a case that actually that course isn't right for you, you could have those conversations with the university, with the academic departments, to see whether or not switching to a course that is maybe a better fit for you would be possible. However, that would depend on your previous grades, for example, and whether or not you have the right academic background. But quite often there can be some flexibility, and then there's always the final option that you would fully withdraw from the course, work, do some extra research, and then reapply the next academic year. So there are a range of different options available depending on what situation it is that you find yourself in whilst you are studying. I hope that helps.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Jess. Going to shoot now over to Sarah. The question for Sarah is, how have applications to study abroad changed since we left the EU?
Yeah, thanks, Martin. So really from what we can say and what we have seen so far at ESCP is that it hasn't changed as much as you would think. So I think it really depends on the institution. So my advice is to contact the recruitment or admissions department at the universities that you're interested in and ask them directly with your case, what should I do to apply to that university, and what has changed. But in general, I think universities, it's also in their advantage that they are prepared for the change and that they make the application process as smooth as possible for you. What I would say though is pay attention to maybe the visa. So that can be something that changes for you, whether you want to study in the UK and you are a European citizen now. Some things have changed, that there is a new UK student visa, which is, you can find a lot of information about that on the government's website. And maybe also the fees might be something that changes depending on the university you want to go. For example, we haven't changed the fee structure, but some universities have or had to because of, you know, the current situation. But yeah, in general, I think universities make a great job and did a great job to adapt so that the international students' experience in applying is as smooth as possible.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Now I'm going to pop a question over to Ebony. The question is, how does the application process differ for an apprenticeship compared to a university degree?
How does the, so could you repeat the question, sorry?
Yes, of course. Yeah, the question was, how does the application process differ for an apprenticeship compared to a university degree?
Okay, so with, when you apply for university, you would typically go through UCAS or some sort of thing like that that allows you to kind of do a personal statement. With an apprenticeship, you are typically kind of taken, it's like it's essentially a job. You a lot of companies will have specific entry requirements for their apprenticeship. So there are some companies that may require you to just be a certain type of person. They may, for example, just specifically say you need to be someone that has a good telephone manner, you need to be somebody that has an interest in this field or something like that. Typically with a lot of the degree apprenticeships and the higher apprenticeships, those companies tend to require you to have certain grades at level 3. So your A levels or your A level equivalent qualifications, they may require you to have certain grades. And then they also will ask for you to be a specific type of person. So somebody that's interested in this and that. So it's very similar to how it works with a job with a person specification. I hope that answers that question.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ebony. Now back over to Pat. Pat, what are the benefits of studying at a specialist institution instead of going to a university to study?
Okay, thanks. Well, the first thing to say is that many specialist institutions actually are universities. All of the degrees that they offer are of the same quality because UK university degrees and UK degrees are all, if you like, quality assured on the same level. So there isn't a difference there. The difference about going to a specialist is very much because you are part of a community of interest around the same sorts of subjects. This allows you to work with people who are like-minded, so collaborate with them. As I said earlier, most specialists across all of the different subject areas will have incredibly good links to industry, which means that you're developing contacts for work later on. You're getting a better perspective, perhaps, on what it is to be a professional in your chosen subject area because you're having that very regular contact with industry. And I think from my own side of things in the creative industries, it's very much about developing the ability to work in groups, developing the ability to work collaboratively, and that broader skill set, understanding what it is that's needed. And again, as a smaller institution, you get a more personalized learning experience than you do in a larger, much larger institution. So, as I said earlier, you get 16 hours of actual contact time every week at all level of undergraduate study with us, plus all of the time you get for independent work in our workshop studios and other areas. So I think for me, it is at its heart that more personalized experience that you get.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Pat. A question now for Jess. Jess, if I'm interested in 2 different courses, how can I ensure that my personal statement reflects both?
Now, that is also a very good question. So as you know, that the personal statement in your application to university, if you're applying through UCAS, the same application goes to all 5 of your choices of university and all 5 of your courses. And our university can't see which other universities that you've applied to. So if you're applying for one course at our university and a different course at a different university, the personal statement does need to be applicable to both. So my advice would be that most of the time, people who are applying for 2 courses or a combination of courses or a joint honours degree, quite often the courses will be quite linked in terms of skills that are necessary, but it may be that you are doing something that is quite different, and I just advise that you make sure that you cover the skills that are necessary. If you are doing something that is completely different at one university compared to the other 4 universities, you can contact them to ask if they will accept a separate statement. However, it is completely up to the university if they choose to do so, but it is just about reading the personal statement with your hat from each of the different universities on, seeing if it makes sense, and making sure that you are covering the skills, the knowledge and the experience that is necessary for your personal statement and for your application to that university. I hope that helps.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Jess. Another question now for Sarah. If you were to choose a course abroad, what does this mean in terms of extra cost? And does student accommodation differ abroad compared to the UK?
Yeah, excellent question. So I think that also depends on the type of university and where the campus is located. So if you are you can be abroad in a country that might have, a fame of being expensive, but if you are in a suburban or in a campus-based university, and sometimes these universities offer accommodation on campus with really good prices, so you don't have to spend too much. If you are in a city, then the cost of life might be a bit more expensive. So that's definitely something to consider as well when you look at the location. It's not necessarily more expensive because you're going to be abroad. Sometimes you have to study away from home in another city in your own country, and that city might be more expensive than your own hometown, sorry. So check what I think that a lot of universities offer kind of a guideline in terms of what you will spend in that city. If you want to have an idea, for example, in the cities where we are, on our website we have a table with a kind of a breakdown of the cost of accommodation, transport, leisure, and so on, and what we have gathered as information from our students to give you a monthly price of life, cost of life in each city. So that would be a good starting point to know how much it will cost to live in those cities, but it's not necessarily more expensive than staying in your own country. I hope that helps.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Just to look a bit aware of our time, so we'll just do one more question, I think. So question goes over to Ebony, and I'll kind of ask 2 questions at once. Can you apply for apprenticeships and university courses at the same time? And additionally, are there typically as many places available in apprenticeships as university courses?
So the answer is absolutely. You can definitely apply for university as well as applying for apprenticeship opportunities. There's no limit or cap in regards to how many apprenticeships that you can apply for. Typically speaking, when I've spoken to apprentices that are currently doing apprenticeships right now or have done them in the past, a lot of the general consensus is that you should apply for as many as you possibly can. If you are serious about getting an apprenticeship, just apply for as many opportunities as you can, as long as they look like things that you'd be interested in doing. And the second question was, sorry, just remind me.
The second part of the question was, are there typically as many places available in apprenticeships as there are university degrees?
The answer is no, absolutely not. There really aren't as many spaces in university as there are apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are great, but they are limited and they are very competitive in that essentially one role, you could think about it this way, just like any job role, a lot of people are going to go forward for that position, and a company will typically, when we're talking about the degree and higher apprenticeships, on average, a company in a year will very likely take on, some of them may only take on 1 apprentice, Some of them may take on a team of 20. It really depends on the company, but typically speaking, there are not as many apprenticeship opportunities available as there are university places. And that naturally is because there's only so many companies in the country, and there's only so many people that they can take on as apprentices in a year.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Ebony. And that's going to be the end of our session today. So I'm sure you'll join me in thanking Pat from Northern School of Art, for Jess from University of East Anglia, Sarah from ESCP Business School, and Emily from BL Training for all of the information that they've given to you. If you're wanting any more information about each of their institutions, then be sure to go to their website to find a little bit more. Additionally, UK University Search in 2 weeks' time is hosting our next virtual fair. I am just going to put the address for the fair in the chat now, so you're able to find out a little bit more about it and find out exactly where you can register. So that's going to be in 2 weeks' time, running from 12 o'clock to 6 p.m. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Apologies if we didn't get to any of your questions at all. But like I say, if you do have anything outstanding, make sure to go onto their websites, get in contact with the guys, or come along to our event in 2 weeks' time. So once again, thank you very much for joining, and take care.